Holy you scared the crap.
You better off going down to, what is it, bridge down there.
Oh yeah. I can still hear whatever it is.
Tonight, we look at 6 disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. In another part of the world, a group of friends found themselves in a situation just as tense, though under very different circumstances. Their story began innocently enough, with the friends gathering to plan their upcoming workout routine. None of them could have predicted that their next adventure would shift into something far darker. Days later, the group set out on a camping trip, hoping to escape into solitude deep in the wilderness. They discovered what seemed like a secluded spot, far from any signs of civilization, and eagerly set up their campsite for the night.
Shut up. Let me try to see if I can hear it. That sounds like some demonic stuff. Bro, if he gets closer, I'm out.
As darkness settled in, the quiet was broken by a clear human voice calling out from the trees, no more than 20 feet away. The friends froze in place, exchanging uneasy looks. Hoping to ease the tension, one of them responded, but instead of a friendly answer,
Hey, yo, what's up?
I think we're good. Can't keep looking out.
a barrage of profanity came from the unseen stranger. The tone was laced with hostility, carrying the weight of someone who felt the campers had trespassed into their domain.
Shut up, hold on.
Where's the knife?
What happened?
Where's the knife? Knife.
Knife. I don't know, I don't think we have it.
Yeah, we should be fine, but for our own safety, we should get out of here.
The mood instantly shifted from lighthearted to fearful. The friends realized the seriousness of their situation and quickly began packing up their belongings in silence. With each movement, their eyes darted toward the shadows, bracing for the possibility that the stranger could step out at any moment. It's unclear who the stranger was or why they reacted with such rage. Perhaps it was a territorial local, or someone hiding something they didn't want others to discover. What do you think was hiding in those woods that night? Just an angry passerby, or something far more dangerous? Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. In an unusual attempt at stealth camping, a camper decided to set up for the night on the roof of a restaurant. To avoid drawing attention, he disguised himself as a construction worker, hoping the cover would help him blend in and carry out his plan without suspicion. However, as he climbed onto the roof, he was startled to find that someone was already there.
Holy you scared the crap. Yeah, I'm not a threat to you. I'm not gonna fuck with you or nothing. I swear, I'm Sam.
I'm Jay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You work for the city?
No, I'm pretending to be a construction guy so I can...
The man introduced himself and claimed he had previously worked at the restaurant. He explained that he had been staying on the property for a while, and went so far as to reveal that he intended to turn himself in to the authorities within a few days.
Scared the living crap out of me. But I got all my stuff ready to go.
The camper was shaken by the encounter. What had begun as a lighthearted plan for a secret overnight stay instantly turned into something unnerving. The man hinted at being a wanted felon, which only heightened the sense of danger. Unnerved, the camper quickly abandoned the idea of camping on the roof.
Ready to go. And, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, you're good.
Despite having already prepared food and supplies for the night. The identity and intentions of the stranger remain unclear. Was he truly a former employee who had fallen on hard times, or was there a more troubling backstory behind his claims of being wanted? If you were in the camper's shoes, would you have stayed to find out more, or left immediately as he did? On July 12, 2025, veteran adventure filmmaker Andrew Steampier White uploaded a striking video to his channel, ASPW Experience. With more than 30 years of travel and documentary work behind him, Andrew has built a reputation for calm, rational storytelling. That background made what he captured during a camping trip in Zimbabwe even more unsettling, because even he, someone not prone to sensationalism, admitted he had no explanation for what appeared in the sky. The incident occurred while Andrew, his wife and their guide were camping along the shores of Lake Kariba.
Hello, my name is Andrew Steampier White. I am an adventure travel filmmaker. I've been doing this for over 30 years. And on a recent shoot in Zimbabwe, I witnessed something that I cannot explain. So I'm going to ask you in the comments to share with me what you think this might be. I'm not a kind of guy that is particularly into conspiracy theories, particularly when they're ridiculous. But I'm also interested in them when they have some validity. So I feel as I have a pretty open mind when it comes to this kind of thing. My mind can't open enough to explain what I saw, but the beauty of this is I photographed it. So what I'm going to show you now is there were three of us, my wife and our Zimbabwean guide, Graham Sharp. We were sitting. The sun had long set. Everybody else was in their tents. We were sitting up having a sherry and looking at the night sky and just talking about stuff.
As night settled in, the group enjoyed a quiet evening under the stars when Andrew noticed something unusual.
I said, hang on a minute, that star just moved. Strange, must have been a figment of my imagination. A few minutes later, it definitely moved. And I said, whoa, guys, that star, and it was a particularly bright star, that star just moved. So we all looked at the star, and it moved. It moved down and left, and then turned off. Okay, it's a man-made thing. It looked like a star, and it was stationary in the sky, like stars are. Of course, they're not stationary, they move, apparent to our location, which can be captured on a time-lapse camera. And guess what? I had a time-lapse camera running, and I realized, hey, whatever that was, my time-lapse camera is pointing in the right direction, I think. It's going to be towards the left of frame, but I think that my time-lapse camera will capture this. Then what happened? Another star appeared, and then that one came back. It turned itself on. Stars don't turn themselves off and on. Like a switch. Click, it's gone. Click, it's back on again.
A bright point of light, resembling a star, suddenly shifted its position. It dimmed, disappeared entirely, and then reappeared. Andrew realized his time-lapse camera, already aimed at the night sky, may have recorded the anomaly.
Now what I'm going to show you now is, because at that moment I said, hang on, I'm going to film this, and I got a camera and I faced it towards, it was very dark. The camera I'm using is pretty good in low light, but it's not magic. It did pick us up, and we started to discuss in real time what we were watching. The time lapse is not real time because it's so dark. Each frame is 10 seconds, so the time lapse camera would record and open its shutter, and each single frame, run at 25 frames per second in this case, is basically a 10-second exposure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back our discussion on the banks of Lake Kariba, Matusadona in Zimbabwe. We were facing almost due west, pretty much 270 degrees magnetic, give or take. And the sun had gone down in that location. There were a series of hills, and I'm going to now go through and try and match up the frames recorded with the time-lapse camera to what we were actually seeing at the time, and then I might cut in my thoughts now as I put this film together of what I think this phenomenon, well, I don't know what it is, but I have witnessed a few things. And one of the things I want you to notice straight away is that it is fairly obvious that the phenomenon was exo-atmospheric. It was not within our atmosphere, because our atmosphere is stationary in the frame.
On review, the footage confirmed what they had witnessed. The light pulsed in and out, then others appeared beside it. 2, then 3, then 4 star-like objects flickered in and out of view, shifting in ways celestial bodies simply do not. To rule out conventional explanations, Andrew compared the anomalies to an actual airplane that entered the same frame. The contrast was clear. While the plane's lights blinked along a straight, linear path, the unidentified objects hovered, pulsed, and faded unpredictably. Their movement appeared synchronized with the stars in long exposure, suggesting they were outside Earth's atmosphere. The following night, he set up again. The same strange behavior appeared.
We are filming this, folks, because we are witnessing a UFO right here. Now, there is a camera I set up about 2 hours ago, maybe a little less, over there before the moon came up, which is a time lapse. We watched a star, bright star, and it was quite bright, and it turned off. I noticed it turn off. Then it came back. Is it coming back? It's coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
It's moving.
Okay, it's moving
across the sky.
So now looking at through the binoculars,
There's a second.
there is a
There's
second
the
one.
second one.
Second one below it. These are.
There's the third and the fourth.
I'm not seeing the fourth. The third and the
Very
fourth.
bright.
They're
That one is very, very bright.
very bright.
That's been the brightest one.
Yes, the other two are coming in from the top.
Yes.
There are 3 of them coming in from the top.
I caught a sight of the fourth one, and there it's
The
dimming
fourth one is
again.
dimming and going out. So they're pulsing, going brighter and they're moving. They're physically moving, but they look like stars, right? So they have the same. They even twinkle a bit, don't they? They twinkle.
Yeah, they twinkle,
They twinkle like a star twinkles. And there's
but they don't behave like stars
there's a
because
dance.
stars don't move like this.
No. There's a dance going in front of us, it's happening this very second live while the camera is filming us.
And it comes back.
We will look at the time-lapse footage and hope.
Lights that blinked in and out shifted across the sky and reflected light after sunset.
Here is my logic. They're, as I said, out of the atmosphere, otherwise they wouldn't be moving with the stars, they would be stationary with the ground, Earth. So they're not drones or anything like that. We can discount that completely. So let's now assume that they are out of our atmosphere. What could they be? Remember, the sun has just set, so whatever they are, we are seeing reflected light. It's another reason why the light emanating from them is not consistent, sometimes much brighter than at other times, which suggests to me that they are not spherical, and that if they were flat and turned to reflect more light, they would appear brighter, but they're so far away that all we're seeing is a spot of light. And when not reflecting that much light back to us, and reflecting some, they are not reflecting as much light because they're not spherical. And if they are not spherical, then they are not natural. Or at least, asteroids and things like that are round. But asteroids and comets and things like that always move in a linear direction. They might change speed and things and appear to speed up, but they're affected by gravity, so they're moving in one direction. These were moving in all up, down, sideways, and varying in intensity, and then suddenly they would turn off, just gone. How do they turn off how do you turn off a reflection? You turn off a reflection by turning so that the side that is reflecting the light back is no longer reflecting the light back in your direction.
Based on the way their brightness changed, Andrew theorized the objects were not spherical, unlike stars, comets, or meteors, but instead flat, reflecting light depending on orientation. That ruled out known celestial phenomena, as well as man-made drones or satellites. There was no sound, no interference, and no logical explanation. Andrew's detailed footage eliminates many possibilities. They weren't stars, satellites, or aircraft. Their synchronized pulsing and non-linear movement suggests something beyond natural atmospheric or orbital behavior. Could they have been advanced technology reflecting sunlight, or something even more unexplained? If even a veteran filmmaker with decades of global experience is left without answers, what does that say about what was really in the skies above Zimbabwe that night? Was it human technology we aren't meant to know about, or something far more extraordinary? After finishing work near Bournemouth, a camper set out to find a place to spend the night. With daylight fading fast, he came across a stretch of woodland that looked promising. Though it was more populated than he preferred, he pressed on, determined to find a discreet spot before nightfall. Eventually, he chose a campsite tucked between two roads, close enough to hear passing traffic, but not so close as to be overwhelming.
A bit extra protection, just in case the wind starts blowing through the side of the hammock. But anyway, if nothing else happens, I'll catch you in the morning.
As the rain began, he quickly strung up his hammock and tarp, taking care to protect against wind and moisture. With his gear dry, he settled in, brewed a cup of coffee, and prepared an early meal while the rain tapped steadily on the shelter above. The night seemed quiet until around 11:30 p.m.
I can hear you.
When he was startled awake by the distinct sound of footsteps near his hammock. The noises were bipedal, deliberate, and unsettling. Each time he checked with his light, the area appeared empty, yet the sounds persisted. Uneasy, he spent the rest of the night on edge, unable to fully relax. By morning, mist and rain still clung to the woodland. He fixed a simple breakfast of oats and coffee before packing up, leaving behind nothing but the faint, dry outline where his camp had been. The source of the footsteps remains a mystery. It could have been a late-night wanderer, or perhaps an animal whose movements sounded eerily human in the dark. What do you think was moving outside his camp that night? Just wildlife passing through, or something more sinister? Guided by locals, a camper was pointed toward an old iron-gated entrance, a place where children often claimed to witness strange phenomena. Curious to see for himself, he set out to investigate the woodland beyond, determined to uncover whether the unsettling stories held any truth.
Up the banking, and then you'll see like some woodland. She says kids often complain about seeing strange things there.
As he entered, he carefully made his way through the terrain, noting the nearby cricket fields and the unnerving stillness of the woods. Signs of human activity, makeshift shelters and old fire pits, hinted that the place had been used before, though by whom remained unclear. The deeper he moved into the woodland, the stronger the sense of unease became.
So we're having a little look around and been speaking to part landowner there, and this is a nice dog. He's actually, paying a bit of respect to his dogs that he's buried.
Rustling leaves and distant animal calls only intensified the tension, leaving him with the persistent feeling that he was being watched. That tension escalated when he encountered a local man. Clearly intoxicated, the stranger claimed ownership of the land.
You're better off going down to, bridge down there?
Yeah, I'm going to look down there first, see what... I've seen one spot, but...
There's no cat, is it?
All I'm looking for is like a nice...
And spoke cryptically of buried pets. Though the camper attempted to remain respectful, the man's slurred speech and erratic movements quickly raised concern. What began as a simple exploration now carried a sharp edge of unpredictability. Caught between curiosity about the man's claims and a growing sense of danger, the camper decided it was best to cut his trip short. Packing his gear, he left the area with mixed emotions, frustration that his plan had been derailed, but also excitement at the thought of returning someday with proper permission from the rightful landowner. The encounter raises unsettling questions. Was the man simply an intoxicated trespasser, or was there truth in his talk of buried animals and strange activity in the woods? If you had been in the camper's place, would you have pressed further into the forest despite the warnings, or left as he did? The final case of the night comes from Western Nowhere, a channel centered on solo wilderness exploration, archaeology, and storytelling, often set in the remote landscapes of the American Southwest. On July 27, 2025, while documenting an ancient hunting camp hidden deep in the forest, the adventurer began to sense that something was wrong. What started as a quiet expedition gradually shifted into something far more unsettling.
Whoa. This has clearly been worked. This thing's 750 years old, at least. And can't see the very end of that. So I didn't read anything about these caves. I know there's caves throughout this area. For some reason this cave is creeping me out. I know that it's close to the cave with the skull. I'm gonna sleep out here and I'm gonna think about it. One, it's not safe because I'm by myself. Two, it's very tight. And three, my emergency GPS, well, it doesn't work underground. So these rocks seem stacked. Oh yeah. I mean, that thing's small. Seeing something white back there. I think it's just a rock. I can't tell. So that's 3 caves. And it's starting to get very late in the day. There's probably 15 minutes of light left. I have a hike back to my truck. These caves are tempting to investigate. And I think I'm gonna watch this sunset for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna hike back to my truck. There's something powerful about being here. So right below me, that's the ceiling of Skull Cave. I know there's more of their objects, their tools, the things that they made stashed in these rocks. I don't know where they're at, but you could almost sense that they're here. And I think of the sounds that went on here as there was life here. There's this quote I think of from this great documentary called Peter and the Farm. And Peter said, "Life announces itself with force, but death is always the same." And he's referring to the silence of death. And I choose to think about the announcement of life, of the sounds that carried on and played out here, of laughter that no doubt went on out here. So standing next.
Among the ruins and caves, he noted stacked stones and signs of early habitation, evidence of a hunting site that could be centuries old. Though tempted to spend the night inside one of the caves, he quickly dismissed the idea. It was too tight, too risky, and dangerous to attempt alone.
Next to Skull Cave, I feel the heaviness, almost like, what was that sound? I'm sure my mic picked that up. What was that? Right in there. Now it's over here. Well, that was creepy. It sounded like a 10-foot tall bullfrog. I still don't believe in Bigfoot. And I'm going to tell myself that while I'm sleeping out here tonight. What is that sound? It's coming from out here. Is it a bear? Well, so I've heard bears before. Kind of sounds like it. It sounds deeper. And I've heard cows make really strange, creepy sounds. But not like that. The sun just left. I mean, you'd have to just laugh, right? I'm not going home. I'm gonna spend the night out here. I was gonna camp here on the edge of, what is that? I camp here on the edge of, I camp here on the edge of, what is that? I got the chills. Okay, well, enough talking. I'm gonna stay here for 5 more minutes. Quiet. I'm gonna record. See if I could get a clear recording of this thing when I'm not talking. That time, It went the opposite way, 100 yards to the right. So there's either more than one, or it could move maybe 10 miles an hour through dense forest.
Instead, he set up camp near a cave known as Skull Cave. As daylight faded, the silence of the area grew heavy, broken by strange, deep noises echoing through the forest. The sounds were powerful.
No Sasquatch got me. I'm gonna make some dinner and then I am going to get my camp set up. I could still hear whatever it is out here, so what I'm gonna do is set up a mic, I don't know, 100 yards away from my truck and see if I pick anything up. That's where I have my mic and it's recording. I was gonna pitch a tent because it was gonna rain, but it kind of cleared up. Hearing that sound through my speakers at home, I'm more convinced that it was an owl. Even though in person it was much louder, it was much deeper, and it seemed to permeate the entire forest. So if anyone recognizes what animal this is, please let me know. That's the end of day 1 at this ancient hunting camp. Tomorrow I'll head back out to the caves and maybe go inside.
Unlike the typical calls of local wildlife, they stopped him mid-sentence, leaving him clearly shaken. Though he tried to rationalize it as an owl or perhaps a distant animal, the volume and resonance made it difficult to explain away. Later that night, he placed a microphone outside his camp to capture the environment. The recording revealed not only the strange calls, but also the snap of branches and other unexplained noises. The forest seemed alive with something unseen, its presence undeniable. While the adventurers suspected it might have been an owl, the recordings suggest a much deeper, more powerful sound. Could it have been an unrecognized animal, or perhaps something tied to the ancient history of the hunting camp? Was he merely surrounded by natural wildlife, or did he stumble onto something older, something that still lingers near the caves once used by hunters centuries ago? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.